Lucero.
Hello and welcome to Big Trouble in Little China. I am your host, John Lucero.
Thank God I can edit around that. And also joining me is Franky Ordazdecide.
Hello, hello.
Guys, how's it going? It's been a few, has it been a month now, I think?
Since we did one of these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
was
Kirby's
the
Corpse
last one
Party
we
was the
did?
last one.
Kirby's Corpse Party, yes.
Yeah.
That one took a weird turn.
Yeah. Shit got dark real quick there. I don't know what happened there, but, deciding that Kirby was this terrible, terrible creature of Lovecraft descent. Jeez, I don't know what happened there. But anyway, yeah, we've been playing some stuff in the interim there. So why don't we talk about that? Franky, I was listening to your podcast last night, and you have been playing some Mario and Rabbids. So why don't you run down that, because I haven't picked it up, and John, you haven't picked it up yet either, right?
I have not, no.
Now I've been very curious on this, and I've been kind of wanting to play it. So sell me on this thing. I've been really like what you've been talking about over there has been kind of making me want to pick it up. So maybe you can sell me a little more on it since you've had some time in between.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So I guess the best place to start is probably my least favorite parts. There's in between the battle arena areas. You're kind of wandering around the map. You're picking up coins, doing stuff like that. But there's puzzles along the way to get to every place, and you can think of them as the very early simple Zelda-esque sort of puzzles. A lot of moving blocks around. There's some stuff I haven't unlocked yet to be able to move things and whatnot, but and that you can actually find power-ups for your weapons, or different weapons, I should say, as well as I guess they have this little trophies areas. It's just collectibles for inside of the game.
Okay.
So there's a bit of loot gatheringness there. I still get drawn into the puzzles. Definitely. They're never, like I said, they're not really difficult, but they're not annoying, they're fun. But I kind of do wish that there were less of them, because I just want to get to a new battle as soon as possible. As soon as one's over, I'm like, okay, that was awesome. Let's go to the next one.
So what you're telling me is the combat's a little bit more of the draw than the maybe puzzles?
Definitely.
Okay.
At least for me. And that was the thing, is I never really heard anybody talk about any of the in-between stuff going on between the battles, all the puzzles and whatnot. So I didn't even expect that to be there. But yeah, I mean, getting into the battles, I don't know, they made it so well. Everybody has similar moves, but they're different enough. And they're leveling up those different actions that they can do. Can sometimes be different from one character to the next.
Okay.
Which is also really cool too. But I mean, you're just going around and you're figuring out how to take down these wide range of enemies. And seeing Mario shoot, it everybody was really upset about it right away, right? But
I don't know about upset. It's certainly weird though to see Mario shoot.
Because Mario is the gun. Mario doesn't need a gun.
Mario is as we've discussed on this podcast, he's a living weapon, and also he's a never nude. So
yeah, he's a danger. He's a menace to society, and he needs to be stopped.
It's true.
I played Odyssey. He needs to be stopped.
So
right,
John, are you saying Bowser's actually the good guy?
Yeah, actually, it's like a braid situation.
Holy shit! 94
Yeah.
episodes of this goddamn podcast, and we finally come to the conclusion. I mean, that's it. I don't even think we need to hit 100. I think we're done. Let's just wrap it up here, and we'll call it a day. I mean, we've just come to the conclusion that Mario's a danger to society, and Bowser's been the good guy all along. And man, I'm just gonna go destroy all my Mario games now, because Mario's clearly an asshole.
That's true.
All right, I guess we can go home.
All right, guys.
Nuclear-
Well, guys, this has been fun. I'd say plug the Twitter, but I think we're done. I think I'm just gonna shut down the site after this. So. Doing the hard investigation here.
Right.
So anyway, sorry about that. You go ahead.
But no, so it's the gun aspect of it. It's very Mega Man-y, It's I mean, not in the mechanic of it, but just the design of his gun and everything. It doesn't come off as it fits with Mario somehow.
It doesn't look like Mario's holding a Glock, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You know, it's not like
Oh, what if he
he's
had a
not.
Glock?
Oh god, that would be great.
It was hyper. It's a hyper realistic game too, so it was.
Oh, that would be
Crazy blood everywhere. Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Mario
totally,
Warzone.
totally just execution style. Take out that Princess Peach rabbit. Taking a selfie here. Take a selfie. Yeah, this is your blood splatters all over the place. Man, what that Kirby episode really got to me. I think.
just do a complete retelling of Dread, the new one, but with Mario instead
Oh, there
of
we go.
Judge.
It's a me,
So, yeah.
Judge Dredd. I find you guilty.
But
Sorry, Franky.
no. I like it. It's good. So yeah, I mean, the way like Mario still can run, and there's options to like dash enemies, you know, to get a little bit of extra damage on them. You can also you know, to get like extra distance, you can hop off of allies. And in that, Mario also actually has an ability where he can land on characters, on enemies, to do extra damage as well. So
is this ability something like the jumping off? Does that kill your friends? Because like, you know, kind of like he's an asshole in Mario or in you know, Mario World, where he just like, bye Yoshi, clunk, see you later, thanks for the extra boost, buddy.
No, they actually, it's like whenever you select that option, I'm pretty sure every time you'll get whatever character you're jumping off of will, like, you know, they'll hop on their back and they'll put their legs up so that Mario can jump on their feet.
Oh.
And then like they get launched off.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes there's like a little cinematic for it too. I don't know what decides that, if it's completely random, but it's kind of cool. It makes, you know, the gameplay a little bit more interesting. But yeah, so Mario is still Mario. There isn't anything really different about him. He doesn't feel unusual at all.
Feels at place with a gun.
Yeah.
Murder.
Well,
He feels. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, they're very comic-y. Like they have abilities on them. Like one of them is honey, and if you get this sounds really bad. If you get a honey shot off of one.
Okay.
On an enemy, they'll be stuck. They can't move for the one turn. And the same can happen to you. Like all the enemies have, I think, pretty much the same abilities at their disposal.
I am way more aroused than I should be by that description.
Does it play the Honeycomb Havoc music from the Mario Party games when you shoot that? No, that's a missed opportunity right there.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard that before, but it's really bad. And
there's a lot of, I don't know, it feels like there's a lot of, I mean, it takes place in the Mushroom Kingdom, but the world doesn't feel like Mario, which, you know, I don't know, good or bad. It doesn't bother me. I feel like there's a lot of focus on the Rabbids, which I actually have grown to like them a little bit more. Some of their humor like translates really well with the character interactions, which is nice. But one of my big complaints is when you're walking around the overworld, there's like a bunch of spots that like you can like look at what's going off on the side, which every single time that I've done this, it's always been about the Rabbids, and it's completely inconsequential to anything else going on. Which is kind of annoying because there are definitely like some like secret areas that I don't know exactly how to get to, and it'd be nice if maybe they showed that somehow.
Okay, so it doesn't do a very good job of telling
a hint
that there's something there.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be nice, but I'm sure they want you to play through the game a second time. It's definitely geared for that. There's a bunch of areas where it's just like, oh, I don't have this ability. I don't know when I'm going to get it. I'm going to have to come back later. But again, that's just for the puzzles. Going through the battles, all the different abilities you have, they're varied up. They make sense in the world and for what you need to accomplish, and being able to pull different characters in. I only have a few extra characters unlocked right now, but being able to switch up characters, I think is really, really nice. Like, for instance, right now, the only person that I have that can do healing is Rabid Peach. So I kind of have to keep her there, at least for now.
Okay.
But being able, having those different characters that have those different abilities, I think will be really cool later on in the game, where I hear it gets really hard.
How exactly does Rabid Peach heal? I'm curious on the decision on that one.
I don't know. She has.
Is there a gun she shoots at you? I mean, I'm actually like kind of curious, like mechanically, what the hell she does that heals you.
Really motivational speech. Hello.
Sorry, I think I lost you guys there for a second.
No, you're good.
You're good. Something. Yeah, I don't. She's. I can't explain it. All I know is that there's an area of effect that pops up on the screen, and then you hit the button, and hey, heals.
Oh, okay. So is it? So it's not like the Dragon Quest Puff Puff thing then, at least.
Not that familiar with Dragon.
Does that just mean opium? Like, what do you mean by the Puff Puff thing?
Puff Puff is basically the nice subtle way of you put yourself between a pair of boobs and you get a little puff puff.
Is that every Dragon Quest game?
There is a joke in every Dragon Quest. Sometimes you think you're getting that, and what you're getting is a pair of slimes pushed between you, basically, as you're blindfolded. So you think you're getting that, but you're getting a pair of slimes. So apparently slimes feel like boobs, which is odd. So
yeah, that's just weird.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to kind of think about now. It's like, oh, slimes are boobs. That's boy. That's I don't know. I think that really screwed me up.
And actually, I think all the characters have a area of effect action.
Okay.
Like Mario powers up everybody. Luigi gives a little speed boost. I can't remember what the others do because those are the three that are in my party and primarily have been.
How big is your party make out? Does it vary on each map?
You get three so far.
Okay.
How
far in are you?
Into the second world. I think I'm right at the end of that. I'm gonna get to the third world.
I'm pretty sure it's always 3.
Oh man, I don't like that. As a guy who's like a big tactical fan, like it's I don't know. It's pretty limiting, but
they never throw that many enemies at you, at least so far.
Yeah.
Maybe they do later on, but yeah. I mean, the only time I ever felt overwhelmed was for one of the mini boss fights where this Rabbids like throwing like these fire bombs at you, and it can just whenever you get lit on fire, your character runs around, and so you have no idea where they're going to end up.
Fun.
Yeah, which really, really sucks.
Yeah.
So that took me a few tries, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like they throw too many enemies at you for you to not be able to handle with just the 3 characters that you have. There was even a Toad escorting mission. I was really bummed when I saw that there was going to be an escort mission.
Oh, God.
They're the best things in video games. Escort mission.
Yeah. But it wasn't so bad in the end. It
wasn't
didn't take
so
too
bad.
long. Yeah, no, I mean, I just hate it because it's just like you can't do anything with this character other than make them move.
Let me tell you, the only escort mission I actually think I've ever enjoyed was in X-Wing, and it was one of those like ruse things where you deliberately go out and you're flying along this craft that you're supposed to be pretending to escort or whatever, and like it's like, why the hell would you jump out of hyperspace to I don't know. Anyway, basically to lure out the Empire to set up an ambush or whatever. And that was really the only thing. And as soon as the Empire like jumped in, like the thing you were escorting would jump right out basically, and you would just go full on attack, which I thought was fun. That's the only escort mission I've enjoyed because it was just a complete fake out of an escort.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil 4 one isn't too bad, but I might just be really good at that game now, so it doesn't bother me as much.
I think it's that you're good at that game, John. It's been a while since I've been back to it, but I found what's her name, Ashley, kind of obnoxious with that. I mean, she's not as helpless as I think a lot of people are when you escort them. But man, it's just like, oh god, I just don't enjoy escort missions.
Yeah, I remember liking it less the first time I played it, now it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, I was gonna say subsequent playthroughs kind of make it a little bit less mundane, I suppose.
Yeah.
I remember hating that one a lot too at first. I mean, I'm still not that great at that game, but I played it a lot, and it definitely got less. The only annoying part, I think, the last time that I played that, which has been a while now, was just her voice over and over again. Just, okay, I'm tired of hearing you. Yeah.
Help me, Leon!
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Don't do that ever again, please. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of the game there. It's just so much more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. There's, even watching videos, hearing other people talk about it, I really wasn't intending to ever like really pick it up. Like I was kind of excited about it from when people were talking about it initially. But then I started up GameFly again, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And I was just blown away with how much fun that I'm having. I wish I had more time to play it. I wish I'd already beat it by now. But I constantly want to play it. So
that's a good sign. It's got me. I mean, that's honestly, it's kind of surprising. Like, I'm amazed at the reception that game has gotten. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be terrible," and then it seems like everyone that's played it has really enjoyed it. Like, to the point that like I think I should probably talk myself into getting that.
Yeah, it's good in spite of the Rabbids. Like, that's just what I come back to. Like every time, like they're still annoying. Mm-hmm. I still don't really like them. Like, okay, it's made my perception of them a little bit better just because, like. Rabbid Peach. So the first boss is like Rabbid Donkey Kong, and once you beat him, he's like falling down, and Rabbid Peach is there, just snapping selfies of him falling in slow motion behind her. It's pretty great. That whole interaction is actually really, really funny. But still, they still annoy the crap out of me.
Yeah, Rabbids are, I don't know,
They're the precursor minions. The minion precursor race is Rabbids.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I kind of enjoyed them at first, and they just I don't know. They got a little old really quickly.
They never did it for me, even when I was a kid or younger. I guess I don't remember when they first showed up.
It would have been about 2006, I think, because that was like a Wii launch title, if I'm remembering right. So maybe 2006 or early 7. So
yeah. So teenage me, it wasn't into it. This game kind of interested me at first, but the combat strikes me more puzzle-like than XCOM-like, and I'm really into XCOM. Like I talked about XCOM 2 quite a bit last year on a few shows, and I think it's just missing too many things I like from XCOM for me to get into it.
See, and that's exactly why I don't like Advance Wars. Advance Wars is a puzzle game with combat elements.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I don't know. I just like the strategy part of XCOM, and it feels like it's just a different kind of thing.
I will say that, I agree with you there. I do think there's a hefty amount of strategy that you have to do. Like, there's times that, I'm like, oh, I'll just go into this battle and whip these guys' ass, and I end up a little more wounded than I wanted to be. And I'm like, yeah, I could have done that a lot better just by thinking things out. Like, there's a good amount of strategy that does go into the battles in here, which is I didn't expect. Like, I think that's one of the things I didn't think was gonna like be that important for these.
Yeah, it just struck me as like, and the strategy you're doing in that game strikes me as more like setting up for like one big move, like take out multiple enemies. When XCOM is more like picking your targets at different times, and just resource management and things like that.
Having to change up your strategy as you go, basically.
Yeah. And this one seems like it's not like one set answer to everything, but like you kind of figure out what you want to do and then just move your things to set up your big move in Mario Rabbids. But I haven't played it, so
there are some stages that are definitely like that, or battles. But some of them are definitely. No, I got to go take out this guy first and plan around what these other enemies are doing, like how they move, and the way that's what I'm saying. It's like the way that they make that happen. Your strategy will sometimes change. Like mid stage. So I think there's actually a hefty amount of what you're looking for. So
Okay. Yeah. See, my issue, like I said, with Advance Wars was there was I think it was in Dual Strike. I found like a certain area to like grind up your generals, whatever you call them. I don't know, the characters that you use to take in a battle. And I found this map to grind out, and literally I could just do the same fucking thing over and over, and the enemy AI would just come in there and just do the exact same thing over and over and over. Whereas like something like Tactics Ogre or
I think I remember you telling me about that.
Or like XCOM, it would, they adapt. They do something a little different each time. So it's not like, well, if I put this character here, this character's going to move here. And that's why I always felt like Advance Wars was more of a puzzle to solve out, because it was just like once you figured out the trick, it was like, okay, I just move this piece here, move this piece here, and then I've got just basically you've got them boxed in, and there's nothing they can do. And it's like, okay, well, I'll just win this eventually. It's just it can come down to attrition or just like, okay, well, I've got them down now, so it's no big deal. And that was always my problem with that series, and I'm kind of hoping that that's not the case with the Rabbids thing, because like I said, I prefer something that's going to react to what I'm doing, not just, or at least react in different ways, not predictably react to every single thing I do. So
yeah,
that's what Into the Breach struck me as, that game that came out recently. It's more like a puzzle game and turned me off. I'm like FTL, their first game, which was more like deal with all this bullshit that's gonna happen to you. It's like if I figured out a way to deal with all this bullshit, and I really liked FTL, and I felt like they went a different direction when they did the Breach, so I'm not as interested in it.
Yeah, I think the difference with Into the Breach is maybe those levels just seem a little bit shorter, and the stakes seem a little bit more high than something like Advance Wars. Like I said, Advance Wars, it's just disposable units that you're making. I mean, yeah, you might lose something that's expensive, but you can just get that back after.
Yeah, there is the permadeath aspect to Into the Breach, or the pilot permadeath. You still get the units, but you lose the pilot, I guess.
Yeah,
I think or is the other way around? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but it's one or the other. So, but it's that thing is. I guess I don't mind something like that Into the Breach, because they're more bite-sized chunks, whereas like Advance Wars, you can sit there in a fight for 10-20 minutes sometimes. Yeah. And if you don't have that puzzle parsed out, you're just going to you could potentially get steamrolled, and it doesn't matter any amount of strategy you've come up with. It's just like, oh, I just did this wrong 45 moves ago, and I'm just fucked now. So
yeah.
And that's something where I think like Into the Breach, it adds to that, but it's like those maps are so small that I think there's enough clever ways of going around things. I don't think there's any one direction.
Yeah, there isn't. I've watched it played. I want to try. I will try it eventually, but I don't know. It still seems a little more puzzle than I want it to be. I want it, just to react. I just want to react to things.
Yeah, completely understandable there.
I agree with that for sure.
Now, Frankie, what's the concession with the Roomba?
The Roomba?
That you're
the little thing that you're.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just this robot thing that's like
why is it there? I mean, how does it introduce itself?
Isn't it the player character or something like that? I feel like it's.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, because that's so. The story is that I don't know a whole lot about the Rabbids universe, but
weird.
Hold on, to Wikipedia I go.
Right. So in the Rabbids universe, there's this visor that's created that mashes two things together, like to create, this hybrid whatever, and it could be inanimate objects or animate objects. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay. It'll take two things and combine them into one. And so this girl that creates it, her little robot helper is that Roomba thing.
Okay.
And so things get sucked into this time warp universe topping. I think it's a washing machine. Yeah, it's a washing machine. And yeah, that's how they're transported into the Mario universe. So it is the player character, because that's what you're moving around to select where you want your characters to go, and that's what you control when you're in between battles to collect coins and whatnot. And
so I think we figured out how Bowser can beat Mario is just get one of those stupid little vacuum things. Apparently Mario will just follow that thing to his death. So. Well,
if Luigi's there, he can handle a vacuum. The man knows. That man knows.
That is true.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we got that. John, you have been playing Far Cry 5, and I played a little bit there. Let's get on Far Cry 5 here, because you finished it, and I am finished with it.
I have conflicted feelings on Far Cry 5.
Oh, mine are not conflicted. Mine are very very set, and I'm 100% sure of how I feel about that game. But go ahead.
Yeah. Because unlike you seem to, I actually enjoy the act of playing the game. I enjoy the open world in that game a whole lot. It's gorgeous too. Like, Jesus Christ.
I will certainly give you that.
Yeah.
I started it up, and my wife was like, "I thought you were going to play something. What are you watching?" I was like, "This is the game." She's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, it's Montana. Hope you're in Hope County, Montana, which is a fake place, I think. I don't know if Hope County. I guess there might be one in Montana.
I am not familiar with the counties of Montana either. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume it's this Hope County is fake.
Fake.
And
Fake.
it's just
Goodbye.
I love the setting. I like it. I like it more than the Himalayas of Far Cry 4. I think it's just a personal preference for me. It's less vertical than Far Cry 4 is, because there's just a lot of mountain stuff in Far Cry 4 that I wasn't into. And I think they made a lot of smart changes to the open world for Far Cry, to make it actually feel like they've progressed with the formula. And because I was pretty burned out on it I didn't even finish 4, and I never played Primal. But they made the open world a little more. It feels natural. There's no towers anymore to climb. Which is like a big change, which I was very appreciative. There's like one tower you climb at the very beginning, and they make a joke about there's no towers to climb. It's not a funny joke, but they make the joke.
Boy, they I think it was like everything they tried to do. They sure tried and didn't really succeed. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the open world is. It basically opens up as you explore it, it feels like you're discovering it at your own pace. There are maps you can find in certain locations that tell you about other places around the map. If you look at like Animal Crossing signs on the road, it marks it on your map as like a hunting spot for those kind of animals. So it's just like it's a lot. It feels very natural. The exploration feels very natural in that game, which is really cool. I really appreciate that. They changed the upgrade tree. It's no longer you're skinning a bunch of animals and making wallets out of them. It's now a perk system or a point space system, kind of like the Pick 10 in Call of Duty, where you just get a bunch of perk points and you unlock them as you go. So you're basically unlocking these at your own pace. Some are more expensive than others. Most don't need prereqs. So there are a few that, like the level 2 of a certain perk, you need to pick the level 1 first. Basic stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't
get this half-assed version of this, and then you can have the real thing.
Yeah. Or and that system is okay. I feel it feels pretty restrained. I guess It's not really. I feel like everyone's gonna end up with the same shit by the end of it, because there's only a handful of perks that are really necessary to pick. The rest are just kind of bullshit ones that are really situational, but there's a few that are. So that kind of takes out character customization, which there's very little of. There you can pick your clothes, and it's a first-person game. I want to remind you that.
Oh yeah, it's great that you can see your character for 3 seconds. It's like, really, I mean, I was just like, what is the fucking point?
Yeah. I think that's more for co-op, so your friend playing co-op can see your character. But I mean, that's a pretty loose, reason to customize your character that much. And
people just like to show off the things they buy.
And
to
of course,
one other person.
Of course, there are in-game purchases and stuff like that around that stuff. I think everything can be bought with in-game currency, though.
I'm gonna say you can just say that. You can just leave it at that. Remember, everything can be bought.
Yeah, but it's actually not that unreasonably. Like, the stuff is money's pretty easy to come by in that game. So really, I don't see any real reason to do the in-game purchases. I feel like that's just for people that are impatient, like really impatient. But yeah, I never had any money issues in that game early on. But after a few hours, you're pretty good. But yeah, I really just like running around the open world and doing the Far Cry stuff. The outposts are still my favorite part of Far Cry. They're very I just like the open-endedness of them. Like you can really just go about it any way you want to, clearing it out. I think the problem is that a lot of them are set up in a very similar way. Like the enemy layout is pretty similar. There's always a few on the ground, one up high, stuff like that. But they're still fun to do. A big issue I have is the AI is really inconsistent. It's a buddy system where you have AI partners if you don't have a co-op partner with you, and they have like special abilities. Like there's a sniper lady. You can get a bear or a mountain lion, and
they totally got that from Primal. Apparently, learned that lesson of like, oh hey,
yeah.
having animal companions seems to be fun.
Yeah, that's the big. I think that was a good call, but I feel like their AI is really inconsistent, and whether they realize we're in stealth mode or not. But the bigger problem is the enemy AI at outposts. I feel like every time I stealth kill a enemy, everyone on the entire base is immediately like in alert mode. Like they're like immediately, and it's so fucking frustrating.
See that I didn't have a problem with. I went through a couple outposts and got them like completely like stealth. My issue was as soon as you finish taking everybody out, like, you kind of go in that stealth thing of like, okay, they're all lined up. It's like whack, shovel, whack, shovel, whack, shovel. And as soon as you get it, it does that like outpost liberated or whatever nonsense. And then and then all the bodies disappear and all the loot's gone. You're like, oh, great. Thanks. That's okay. Cool.
Yeah, but their loot's not that. Yeah. But I had a serious problem of like I used a bow a lot in that game. There's also those suppressed weapons you can get. I felt like I liked using the bow. It felt cool to use, and I got really good with it. But yeah, I felt like I would drop someone on the outskirts of the thing, and then everyone on the entire outpost would immediately go into alert status and start running around, which was really frustrating. Felt like it was like ruining all my stealth stuff. I still did plenty undetected because I was able to work around it, but it just felt really inconsistent and unsatisfying when that happened. Also, when you clear out outposts, as you take out, there's like 3 regions with a lieutenant in each region, and as you capture more things throughout the region, like a meter goes up, and eventually there is more people looking for you as you raise the meter up. And there are multiple occasions where, and at one point there are planes that are searching for you. And at multiple occasions, I would take over an outpost, and when you do that, people come back, and it opens up you can look around for some loot and talk to someone, get some missions. And I would be running around for that, and immediately a plane would fly over, and the whole place would go into alert mode, so I couldn't talk to anyone, and I had to take out this plane.
Oh, sounds like
other. Yeah, this happened multiple times. Like it was at one point in the first region, I think it happened and once I got the second part of the meter filled, I felt like it happened every time I took over an outpost. That would happen immediately, and it was so frustrating. But yeah, like the gameplay. Other than that, like the gameplay is just fun. It's Far Cry. It's all that. It's a lot of chaos all the time. I feel like they've turned up the Puma attack meter in that game because it happens a lot. Like cougar out of nowhere seems like a really big thing in that game, and they like to attack the fishermen when you're hanging out when you talk to the fishermen to do fishing stuff. They're coming out of the woods and just attack the fishermen.
Well, see, that's an easy meal. It's like if the fisherman catches a fish, you just catch just take the fish, or if not, just eat the fisherman. Whatever.
Yeah, it happened a lot.
2 birds, 1 stone. Or, yeah, it's just like I don't know. There's so much in that game that I was just like, ugh. But I'll let you get your thoughts out on it before I.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna get to the really frustrating parts in a second. These are the minor frustrations mixed with the good parts. I like the new perk system takes away kind of in previous games, hunting was a big part of the game because that's how you upgraded all your gear, was hunting different things. Now there's like the challenge system gets you the perk points, so like you
like in-game achievements basically.
Yeah, in-game achievements, and as you do them, like there's only one of each. There's only one section for each. So, like there's like 10 kills with the bow, I think, and then that's it. It's not like a level 2 to that challenge. It's just You do the first part, you're done. So it kind of just like it makes you try other stuff, but not very long. So, and it feels like you're kind of missing out on stuff if you use the same weapons all the time, even if you like them. So it's kind of weird. And then also the animals, there's some that you skin 1 or 2 of them, and then you never need to do it again. So it kind of takes away the hunting part of Far Cry, which wasn't a big problem for me. I kind of got tired of it after a few games, but some people really like it still. So, that is a big change. But like I said, I like the new open world structure they have. I think it's overall an improvement and a good direction for the series to go in. Everything just feels less, Ubisoft open world game. It feels like it feels different enough, and it feels like the world is you're getting all these markers and stuff on the world in a more natural pace instead of like Ubisoft and you climb a tower and then it's just fucking icon city as soon as you climb a tower everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's more it feels way more manageable than their typical stuff does, and I like that.
I wonder if they learned a lesson from Assassin's Creed Origins. Like it did seem like they backed off all of the the 3,000 icons within eye shot of you, basically. So
yeah, I feel like they took a lot of cues from what I've seen of Origins. I feel like there's some cues for Far Cry for sure, and that makes sense. Ubisoft does that with a lot of their games. Like they kind of iterate in each series. So
yeah, I mean, if you look at the overall structure of like say Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry, they're not too dissimilar from each other.
Yeah, they're not, which can be pretty frustrating. But they feel like they've taken another step now, so it doesn't feel as bad as it did before with Origins and now Far Cry. And then there's the other part of the game, which is the story.
I'm gonna surmise this thing real quick. It's like they watched one episode of the first season of Justified, saw Boyd Crowder, and was like, "Oh, let's make a game based on him," but totally missed the fucking point of Boyd Crowder.
There are a lot. I have a long list of problems with the story in this game.
The writing is terrible. I mean, the voice acting is. For one, I mean, the accent, it's not Montana. That is not fucking Montana. I mean, they're like I said, they basically watched an episode of Justified and like, hey, let's make a game based in Kentucky, but we're going to put it in Montana because that's more sprawling, I suppose. Yeah.
There's so many choices, and first of all, they can't pick a tone with this game because like the open world, like I said, is chaos. Like it is self-aware, like bullshit all the time, and it's a lot of it's very GTA. Like the writing in the open world and the side stuff is very, very GTA. Like if you play GTA 5, it's basically a whole game built around the country area in GTA 5. It's like it is that. So Trevor's area. And I have never really found GTA's writing that funny, and this is like a lesser version of that. So it doesn't do it for me. But then there's the actual story, which is incredibly self-serious, and it doesn't earn it. And it's really, I think the biggest issue is that the main character doesn't talk, and it's supposed to be you, and you get kidnapped in that game. I swear, in every area, there are 3 areas. You get kidnapped 3 to 4 times per area. I am not exaggerating that. You are kidnapped 3 to 4 times per area. And they're like, because they'll send out gangs that after you do enough damage to the region, they'll send out a search party for you, and they're like invincible enemies that will capture you.
Yeah.
Like shoot them with the bliss bullets, and bliss is the the drug in that game, the fucking ridiculous drug in that game that makes your screen all wavy, and like that's how they convince people to join the cult, because no one would join a cult without drugs.
Yeah, that's never happened before.
Yeah. So you get kidnapped at least I want to say at least 15 times, because there are more times than the region times, because there's also the big bad, the big boss. And you sit in a chair or whatever you feel like they feel like tying you up into the moment, and they monologue at you for God knows how long, trying to just talking in fucking circles about all this like generic cult bullshit about the end of times and all that and all that shit. And it's like, dude, you're not convincing me. But if they had written a character to respond to that, I feel like it would at least come across a little more naturally. Instead, they're just talking at you for forever. And it's the fact that they just keep going back to that well over and over and over again. Like I zoned out every time so fast. And then I guess the ending is awful. It's such a bullshit ending that is not earned at all. I don't know if you want me to spoil it or not.
Oh, God, please do, because I have no intention of going back to this thing.
Okay, spoiler alert.
I am angry I had to install this on my Xbox.
All right, spoiler alert, Far Cry 5. I'm going to spoil the shit out of this game from here on out. At least for the next few minutes, I'll be talking as I think about things.
Here's the thing. I will put it in the show notes as to when you can come back. So if you are listening to this, I'll put check the show notes right now as you're listening, and I will tell you what time you can come back.
Anyway, okay. So Far Cry 5, the main story, Joseph Seed is the cult leader, and then he's got his two brothers and Faith Seed, who is not his actual sister. There have been multiple Faiths that's kind of touched upon in her area, but she's the current Faith. Anyway, as you take out all these guys, each one trying to convince you in a different way. There's John, who's like the yes man, and you finish his area as a fucking bullshit dog fight, boss fight that's terrible. And then Face is the drug one, and you go through a bunch of typical Far Cry drug sequences or video game drug sequences where everything's weird, man. But and that area is her boss fights, like she's teleporting around the arena and shit, and you're shooting with an LMG. And then there's Jacob Seed, who looks like Conor McGregor, and his thing is he like keeps putting you through these shooting gallery thing. You run through a shooting gallery each time, and it's basically doing the thing where it's like training you just to kill things without thinking about it. And I figured out what was going to happen in the last one. I was like, I'm going to kill someone. I'm going to actually kill someone at the end of this, and it's going to be someone I know. And I did figure it out, but the game still it gives you the illusion that there's a choice of it, but you have to shoot the person at the end. You can't just not do it or you fail. Which, oh my God, I was like, I figured out your fucking stupid thing, game.
This game is just a pile of chicken shit decisions.
It's like this whole game is about the illusion of choice, which takes away from any weight the story would carry otherwise, because there is no actual choice in the game. It's just, and your character doesn't talk either, which makes it even weirder that they don't actually just they'll make it a choice-based game if they're gonna make a player character situation, that's just totally like, it's like they couldn't. Anyway,
it's like they took the wrong lessons from every piece of media that they've intaked recently. Like, it's like, I mean, okay, BioShock was like, 8 years ago, but it's like, oh, BioShock did this, maybe we can get away with it. It's like, no. They did this just fine. We don't need the rehash with less talented writing. Just
and the twist in BioShock actually worked.
Yeah.
But, this one is like, I figured you out, game. At least let me, feel good about that. Instead, you still kill the character. Like, the story, that's just part of the story, is that character dies.
Is it anyone I would have met in like the first 3 or 4 hours?
It depends on which area, because the game is very open. You can pick out which area you want to go to at which time. But yeah, it would just depend on what area you went to.
Basically, like I right after the island, I went and got my dog, and that was.
Okay, so no, you wouldn't have come across that character then.
Okay.
He's in the whitetail. He's in the Jacob Seed region in the north, like the mountain region.
Oh, okay. Yeah, kind of stuck in the central area.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's that bullshit, and then once you finally take out all the lieutenants, and you go after Joseph Seed, and they actually do give you a choice, a honest to God choice in the game, to either, when you is final confrontation, to either walk away or to fight him. And I chose to fight him. The boss fight consists of, he has brainwashed all your friends, and the boss fight is you to shoot your friends, put them in a down but not out state, and then revive them so they're on your side. but he can shoot them and bring them back to his side, and so can the other.
Oh god.
And it's they just keep adding more. It's literally every like person you've talked to and met in the game. So it's like three or four stages of this of just doing that over and over again,
Sweet
and just running around and reviving these people and not really fighting the boss.
Wow.
So that's the final boss fight.
It sounds like I won the final boss fight by returning this thing in a red box the same day.
I mean, you could have beat the game in the first 10 minutes if you just walked away.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does the same thing Far Cry 4 did, where you can beat the game in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that from.
Yeah.
I saw that Bill Mudrin did that from Tardy the Party.
It's not as clever as Far Cry 4 is with either. So
I don't think this game you could accuse it of being more clever than anything.
Yeah. And then once you finish the boss fight, you take him in Jacob Seed, and then he says some mumbo jumbo bullshit, and he's like, and basically like, I win in the end, and then a nuke goes off in the background, and multiple nukes. You see multiple nukes, and you have to race away like end of Halo style from the trying to get to a bunker, because there's multiple bunkers at the place, because everyone in this area is a prepper, which is not offensive at all. And you crash towards the end, and everyone in the car with you dies except you, but you make it. And then Joseph Seed walks up, picks you up, takes you to the bunker, and is like, "Now we're gonna start over together, just you and me." And that's how the game ends. And credits. But then after the credits, you wake up on top of a tower, the tower from the very beginning of the game, the one tower you climbed, and all the lieutenants are gone. Joseph's gone, and you can just roam the open world at your leisure. So basically, it was just another drug sequence, essentially. That whole thing. Also, the nuke thing is apparently hinted at if you drive around in cars and listen to the radio. There's a bunch of outside this area, a bunch of apparently a lot of the world's on the brink of a nuclear war when Korea launches nukes, I guess, is what happens. So, but I also don't understand why Korea would launch nukes in the middle of nowhere, Montana. So yeah. I feel like that's a little loose. Anyway, also
I would think Carlsbad, New Mexico would be a target before anywhere in Montana, honestly.
Yeah, so the other option, if you walk away, you get your friends. I feel like he didn't make this clear, but apparently I watched the end. But if you walk away, your friends get to go free with you. But then as you're driving away, Joseph talks to you in your mind, and basically you were brainwashed, and it insinuates you murder everyone in the car with you. And then credits.
Wow,
Yeah.
This sounds fucking terrible.
Yeah. So, yeah, either ending is really bleak, but unearned completely. Because again, the character is not a real character; it's a player character, and I would not have made that choice. So, it just defeats the purpose of having a voiceless protagonist. So yeah, that's the story of Far Cry.
Man, that's complete bullshit. Am I glad I hung up the thing on that, because like I said, I got into it and I was like, I don't know if either of you guys have watched much Justified, but the first season, Boyd Crowder, who's like the main antagonist throughout the series, the first season he's kind of like a religious zealot, and let's say more than a little bit of a white supremacist. And it seems like they took that, but like I said, they caught one episode of it and just ran with that. Instead of also watching the whole thing and seeing how Boyd Crowder developed as a human being and how much more of an interesting character he was. Instead, they were just like, oh, religious fanatics and white supremacy seems big in the U.S. right now. Let's go with that.
Actually, they aren't white supremacists, Jason. There are multiple. It's a very diverse group of cultists.
Oh, that's right.
Which is totally believable.
Right. I forgot about that.
But yeah, in the game, the cult is diverse. It is not white supremacist. It is totally diverse.
Yeah, they totally went chicken shit on that too. So
yeah, and we talked about this when they talked about the story, when they really kind of revealed the setting of this game. We talked about it on the podcast, and I was like, if you go into this expecting some deep story, you're gonna probably be disappointed. But I was still disappointed because
even expecting what you were expecting.
Yeah, it's like it. They didn't, because the Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4's villains, or at least Voss, not Hoyt, but Voss was way more interesting, and Pagan Min's pretty interesting too. He's basically a low rent Voss in a lot of ways, but it just felt way too similar. But they were fun, cartoony, over the top villains, and they don't get that here. They go very self serious, which doesn't fit the tone of the rest of the game, and so I feel like they didn't like they hit some weird middle ground between like trying to say something and saying nothing, or just
yeah.
It's like they were trying to say something and then reined it in, like, maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, it's like they fucking chickened out, like they could have done something. It's like, this is a really interesting setting, especially in the current climate.
Yeah.
Especially at least in this country. But I mean, they didn't do anything with fascism in Far Cry 4 or like the smuggling trade in Far Cry 3. They didn't make any deep, like, introspective things on that. But at least the main characters in that game were actually characters. Whether you like them or not is a different story. But they had their own personality. They reacted to situations in their own way, and they had arcs. This one just yeah, I don't know. I feel like they just couldn't decide. They got scared. That's what happened. Yeah,
I bet you everybody in that cult was white at one point, and then they just turned the shaders darker on a few of them, just to be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't be going after this right now.
It's like, let's not offend white supremacists.
Yeah.
Like, it could. I wish the story surprised me, or I wish it was over the top in a fun way, but. It's neither.
I do, and I think we had talked about this when, like, we initially talked about this game and what we were like clearly thinking this was gonna happen. They were gonna pull back on this, but like, I remember seeing on Twitter like people like very happy that they were gonna be able to go and shoot these people. I'm like the Christian fundamentalist thing. Like, they were very happy about, like, I mean, it's just like, okay, like, let's back off here. I mean, I understand your feelings on it, but it's like, good God, it's like. If I mean, you get a white supremacist who says like, "Oh, I'm gonna go into this video and be happy to kill all these black people." It's like, "Ooh, that does not come out very well." And you saying, "I'm gonna be happy to shoot all these white people," it's like, okay, well, I mean, it's a video game, and I don't think we should ever be expecting video games to make this grandstanding statement, especially one of like AAA caliber where they need to sell millions of copies to recoup the cost. But like this thing is just complete chicken shit. I hated this thing. I genuinely hated this game. It, I guess, it just totally, like, the very self-serious beginning that I got out of it, and then, like I said, you see all these, like, I mean, just the violence and, let's just say, like, the corpses that's strewn about or whatever throughout this game, like, and then you've got a thing where you're supposed to, like mow over a bunch of bulls for the Testicle Festival. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
I ran around the rest of that game with the tank top that said Testicle Festival on it.
Yeah, this game is just totally just fucking everywhere. It cannot make up its mind as to what it wants to be, and that's why I was just like, I don't want to play this. Like,
yeah, it feels like I said GTA, but GTA's main story is also always ridiculous, so it doesn't feel out of place when you're playing the story missions.
Yeah.
The closest was GTA 4 kind of felt at odds at times with the story they were trying to tell.
That one I think was where they maybe went a little too self-serious.
Yeah, and it's a good story, but the problem is the rest of GTA doesn't really fit into the whole, like, a guy wanting to get his life right and get out of crime business, get out of the crime life.
Yeah, by doing a bunch of crime. Yeah, it's like, well, that seems to work out pretty well.
Yeah, but GTA 5 is incredibly ridiculous and over the top. It's not very. I don't like the story that much, but it at least it doesn't feel out of place in that game.
At least they lean into it.
Yeah. This just it feels like they made two different games.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I usually enjoy playing this game for the most part. Just like the open world, I enjoy it. I finished it for a reason. I enjoyed running around and doing stuff in the open world. It felt like a good evolution of the formula.
Yeah. See, and now I'm thinking about it, I wish I'd gotten Connor on too, because he finished this game too, and he didn't really enjoy it either, but he finished it too, and I'm like, I was messaging him back and forth, and we sort of had a lot of the same opinions on, like, just the little bit of narrative I saw, and then I started reading into it a little bit more, and it was just like, no, this game is not for me. I am not interested. But like I would have loved to have gotten like his take on some of this too, because it just like I don't feel like this game really knew what the hell it was doing or what it was going for. It just like on one sense it wanted to be the silly open world shooter of the past Far Cries, and on the other hand it wanted to give people who were woke a boner while playing it, and it's just like I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do with this game.
Yeah, it just feels like a missed opportunity, which makes it even more frustrating.
Yeah. And it's a shame because I mean this game costs a ton of money to make, and
it looks like it too. Like
it's gorgeous. I mean, I will not fault it for that. This game is fucking beautiful. I mean, even just running on a standard Xbox One, like it was just like, whoa, this game pops like a
there are some vistas in that game. Like just like the draw distance is insane in that game.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're playing on a Pro, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, just on a standard Xbox One, I was like, man, this game is insane with how good it looks, and just like the amount of time they spent doing this. I was like, man, I really kind of wish I had to get a 4K TV for this and Assassin's Creed Origins, because man, that is one thing about Ubisoft. They know how to make something look pretty as shit.
Yeah, they do.
But this, other than that, for me, like I said, if the gameplay hook of Far Cry grabs you, this game I suppose will grab you. If it doesn't, steer fucking clear of this thing.
Yeah, because that story, man, Jesus,
it is terrible. Like I said, go watch the first season of Justified. You will get much more out of that.
I think I've only seen season 2. Is that the one with the moonshine?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, but I've only seen season 2.
Yeah. The first season, it is finding its footing, I think, but it sets up so much for the rest of that series that it is completely necessary. But it's still very good. The episodes are a little bit more disposable than the rest of the series, as far as like you could watch one and maybe and figure out what's going on in the middle. But like you walk in the middle of say season 3 or 4 of Justified, it's like what is going on?
Yeah, I love Walton Goggins and Timothy Oliphant, and they kill it in that. At least in the second season, they both killed it. So
but throughout that series, like I don't think there is a dull moment in that series where I'm just like the last season felt a little more weak, but man, that cast is just so strong in that show. So, but anyway. We should, stop talking about Justified, because it's just gonna make me more angry that I waste 3 hours or 4 hours of playing Far Cry 5 when I could have just like, I'll just watch a few episodes of Justified and call it good. So. Let's wrap up here. I've got mostly one thing I've been playing. I'll just talk about it kind of briefly. I've been playing Attack on Titan 2. I think last year, no, it was like 2016 is when the first one came out, and that I think I don't know if we talked about it enough on the podcast where I eventually called it like the best Spider-Man game I've played in a long time. But man, that game feels good just playing it. The first half of it, I even say maybe the first 2/3 of it moves a little slowly because they added in, I don't know if this is a Persona thing or just a Japanese game that they've been adding in, but all these like social link sort of things, and they tie your stat boosts to these social link things. Every time you up your friendship level with the character, you can unlock more or like bigger stat bonuses. Not a particular fan of that because also I'm not a huge fan of the characters in Attack on Titan. Honestly,
neither am I.
I'm there to watch what happens. It's really just a matter of like, I think it's a cool spectacle to watch. We had talked about this when I finished watching that second season. The second season, I think, does more of what I wanted from Attack on Titan. It picks up the pace. I think this season's like 12 episodes versus 20 something that the first season was, and it is just like brutal in its ability to just like wipe off main characters like it's nothing. Like, oh, you like that guy? They're gone, and moving on. And I really enjoyed the fact that it was just like very like, you know, this whole world is very bleak, and it did a much better job of conveying that in the second season than the first season. It still had its contrived points, but anyway, the game itself kind of felt like that, where it drug on a little too much, and then as things kind of caught up to the second season, it picked up its pace. So it's a weird like mirror image of the show itself, where the second part of that game is fast paced. You're bouncing from mission to mission to mission. You have the opportunity to go back and up some of those friendship links if you want to with it seems weird, and I don't know if they took this from Final Fantasy 15, but a time traveling dog. The dog allows you to go back in time to up your friendship thing with some of these people for the stats.
I forgot about the dog.
Fucking ridiculous, but
I forgot about the dog until you said that.
It's anime. I mean, what do you want? I mean, you can't take it too seriously unless you have Evangelion in the title. So, anyway, I still had a ton of fun with this game, and just like killing Titans is incredibly satisfying. I gotta say, like, out of the Muso formula, like, this is the most enjoyable one because you know, when you see that thing of like you know your character kill 1,000 enemies in any of the other Muso games, it's like, okay, it's not really that impressive. It just means I hit the attack button 4,500 times, and that's how it happened. This this one, like, you are absolutely killing everything that comes in your path if you walk out of there with like 30 or 40 kills. And I really appreciate the let's say the difficulty of taking down a Titan. It's conveyed pretty well. Whereas, like I said, in, you know, the Yellow Turban Rebellion, which is the opening sequence in every Dynasty Warriors game, you're literally slaughtering just hundreds and hundreds of things. And it's just like, there's an achievement, I think, for actually killing 1,000 Titans. And having completed the game, and there's some side stuff I want to do still, I still haven't gotten that trophy yet in it. So it should give you a better sense of scale as to like how many things you're taking down. The weapon upgrades are, I guess they're good. There's not really much to say about it. It's just like, okay, Titans get a little stronger as you go on, and you run into the Titans that just take more damage, so you have to naturally upgrade your stuff. But some of the ODM gear, you can like anchor, I think is the correct term for it. You anchor into the Titans or whatever, so you can swing around farther. It definitely makes it feel a little bit faster and kind of ups your mobility thing. And like I said, for me, that's the whole thing of Attack on Titan. I just really like the ODM gears, like fight scenes. Like, they could literally just make a series or the series based on that and nothing else, and I would be on board. Whereas all of them, like, melodramatic bullshit, I could kind of do without.
There's a lot of melodramatic bullshit in that show.
The worst part of the second series or the second season of that thing is unfortunately in the game, and it is where one character says, "You can't die," you can't die because you promised me you would tell me your real name. So this character goes off and, in a fit of self-sacrifice, doesn't quite sacrifice herself. She gets saved in the very end, which, you know, kind of chicken shit out, but it's anime. What do you want? The other character goes and tells her, like, "You can't die now because but I want you to listen closely. My real name is," now hold on, wait for this. The name she goes by is Krista. Her real name is Historia. I was just like, oh god, I forgot. I completely forgot that scene was in the series, and then it made it into the game. I was like, okay, this is fucking, oh god, it's just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, why am I playing this? This is so, like, that's so stupid. And then it immediately gets into a fight, and I'm like, oh, that's right. Okay, this is actually fun to play. Okay, so my suggestion is maybe if you're interested in this, hopefully somebody writes an FAQ. You can figure out the correct responses to all the stupid the friendship building cutscenes. Pick those and just completely ignore any of the plot. It's dumb, but man, that game is fun to fucking play. It is. I would say if that Spider-Man game wasn't coming out this year, probably going to be the best Spider-Man game that comes out this year. But
that game looks better than I thought it would too.
Yeah, that game is.
After that first E3 demo worried me, but this game looks good.
Yeah. When they were talking about it on the Game Informer podcast 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I normally don't kind of like go into their like deep coverage of stuff, but I was like, you know what? I'm curious enough, and I'm watching. I'm like, oh man, I've been kind of like intaking as much of that game as I can now, and I want that game. Like, I'm definitely gonna get that like as soon as it comes out now. Like, I don't think I've had an interest in a Spider-Man game. The last one I really played was last one
I played was Edge of Time. I played a little bit of.
Is that the second Shattered Dimensions type thing?
That's the first one. Shattered Dimensions is the second one, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know
Maybe
either.
maybe.
How about this?
Oh wait, no. I think it's the other way around. I think
Yeah, because
the one with 4 different Spider-Man is the one I
yeah,
played
that
last.
was the first one. So I think
Yeah.
it's Shattered Dimension.
Yeah.
The only reason I played it because I mean Noir Spider-Man. Who the fuck wants to play as Noir Spider-Man?
Yeah, he has a gun.
The one I wanted to play as was Spider-Man 2099, just because like it was a little bit of a different take on Spider-Man and his abilities, but like that was like one of those like I was in middle school, I think like 7th or 8th grade when that whole 2099 series came out, and I was kind of digging on it, and that made me want to go and play it.
I watched it as a kid because I was really into Spider-Man animated series as a kid, so I watched the bit of the future one. It came out at the same time as Batman Beyond did. Batman Beyond is a much better show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I you know what, honestly, like looking back, like Spider-Man, that whole 2099 series wasn't that great to begin with, but I just kind of enjoyed it for what it was at the time. I was in middle school, it was a comic book, who gave a shit? You know, it's like I'm not looking for deep storytelling from that. If I want that, it's like you kind of go to X-Men for that stuff, not that Spider-Man and 2099 crossover stuff. So, but anyway, yeah. So Attack on Titan 2, it's weird they recycle a lot from the first game, but at the same time, then I think about it, I'm like, it's a Muso game. They kind of do that a lot in every one. I think what was it? The last episode Joe was talking about 9. I think it is now. He was playing 9 or 8 or 9, whatever the newest one is. Like
9. It's 9.
Yeah, that feels like the first time they've really kind of like diverged away from the formula of the second one. So, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's the familiarity of Muso games. I understand the draw of it for like Japanese salarymen. Like they're sort of like whipped into a corner all day at work, and they come home and they want to feel powerful or whatever, and like do something. It's like, okay, I just kind of relax here and just wipe out thousands of things and feel good about it as a stress relief. Like I said, for me, Attack on Titan is just like it's the Muso formula done pretty well with, like I said, a good sense of just how like imposing these Titans are. You play it on easy, it's entirely too easy. There is almost no chance of you dying. I just played on normal because I was playing on easy just to kind of plow through it first, and I was like, I am not having any challenge with this whatsoever. And I bumped up to normal, and I was actually having to change out blades and gas canisters, which control your momentum quite a bit. Versus in easy, it's just like, okay, like one hit will take out most Titans. Like you just go for the nape of the neck and they're gone. Whereas that, it's like, here's an occasional thing where it's here's a thing where it's gonna take a few hits. You're gonna have to hit that thing pretty well and fast a few times to take it down. And if you don't do it properly, if you don't get enough speed, you're not gonna do very much damage. And as the difficulty goes up, the Titans, alertness of you goes up, and they will start like doing weird random shit to grab you. Like there's some Titans that like crawl around on all fours, but their fours are sort of let's say dislocated, it looks like. It's really weird. Like they're crawling around on the ground like spiders. It's really creepy.
I really hate the Titan design. I've mentioned that before.
Yeah, I'm not a particular fan either. Just these big dumb naked guys.
I just don't like. I think my problem is the movement in this game looks really, really cool, and I love Spider-Man games, at least when they're good. I love the Never Stop Spider-Man games a lot when I was a kid, and I still think they're pretty good for how old they are. But yeah, I just don't like Attack on Titan. I think it's a big problem. So
yeah.
No, I agree, and that's the thing. Like I said, this is a podcast game. This is one of those games you can just put it on mute and kind of go to town on it. It's fun to play. It is dumb to watch, and it's kind of the way I feel about Attack on Titan in general. It's like there's a fight scene going on, I am on board. I really like watching things get tore up like that. As far as the story goes, I'm just like, okay, great, that's cool. Oh wow, they're Titans too. Oh wow, they're betraying humans, and now they're having a conflict because they've settled in as humans and they feel better, or they feel kind of guilty about killing all these people, but they're still gonna do it anyway. Snore. When are we gonna? It's like okay, get in the ODM gear and just kill shit. Seriously, it's like that's what I really wanted to see. Now, like I said, some of the characters I don't mind, like the guy. I think his name's Hannes. Like he's like in the first season, in the very early episodes, like he takes Aaron and Mikasa, however you say it. I don't know.
Mufasa.
Mufasa. There we go. Yeah. I don't know where Iago was and all that, but anyway, grab. Their mother is trapped under a building, and there's a Titan coming, and he basically makes a charge at the Titan and completely chicken shits out and just grabs the kids and runs. And he's got a redemption moment that, like I said, it's weird for me to like actually like enjoy something in Attack on Titan like on a plot moment, but I actually enjoy like I hate to say like he has this redemption moment and just
such a funny sentence, like a damning sentence. It's weird that I enjoyed this plot moment of the show. Yeah, but, like I actually connected to these characters for once.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it's one of those shows like I don't give a shit about the characters in there. I just want the action. But this was like the one time it was like it actually kind of sold me. It's like he went up there to have his redeeming moment and just got eaten. Just like he sat there and fought, and it looked like you're like, oh, he's got it. Oh no. It's like, ooh, chopped in half. Okay, well, there goes that one. Because it's like he realized, like, it's like, okay, I failed. It's like I failed these two kids before, and he goes to protect them, and he essentially fails again. And it's kind of like I said, like the pacing of the second season, I think it did a much better job of like selling you on the world of just being shit. And I kind of enjoyed that moment of like, oh, okay, well, here's the hero's redemption. And, ooh, not so much, huh? All right, cool. So, and quick weird shout out to the soundtrack. It being one of those soundtracks that is incredibly enjoyable to listen to while you're playing, but completely forgettable.
Okay.
It is. It's one of those soundtracks. It's like, oh, it's like I don't want to, like, turn off the soundtrack and just let it like, like. Totally zone it out because it's got a good, I don't know, it adds a lot to the gameplay. I feel like it makes you kind of feel like a badass while you're flying around. Just this like crazy, like I don't know why I'm always on board with like nonsense chanting in video games and in anime. I don't know why I enjoy that so much, but I kind of enjoy it. Like, but it does very well with this. But like I said, this is not a soundtrack I will ever listen to. So
yeah, it's just fitting for the game.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of games that or soundtracks that do that, but this is like one of those like I can actually think like, oh, I really enjoyed this one, and I don't think I ever want to listen to it outside of the game. So, because I've done that a few times.
Far Cry does have a good licensed soundtrack. I'll give it that. If you're into licensed soundtracks, it has a good one.
Okay. Yeah, like for me, like the biggest like license thing was, I'm going to sound like the cliche, mid-30s guy, was the Vice City soundtrack. So
it's a good soundtrack.
Yeah, it really is.
I like the San Andreas soundtrack, but that's more music taste than anything.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it was just like I said, it's a cliche thing, but I think it's a cliche thing because it's a true statement. It's a really good soundtrack for what they were doing. It fit very well there. So, but anyway, that's my Attack on Titan experience there. So, I think that about wraps up the podcast there, guys. Unless we want to chat about anything else, but I think about it ends it there.
That's all I got. Yeah, game wise, that's all I've been playing. That's all I've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I started up Ni no Kuni 2.
Oh, so Ashley did talk you into getting it, huh?
Yeah, it was. It's really cool. I like it so far.
What is with that opening? What is with that opening?
I don't know.
That opening. I heard the recitation of the opening, and damn.
Just hit YouTube and watch it. What the fuck? What? Okay. And doesn't the character who ends up who's the president doesn't he like just pull out a gun and shoot somebody like execution style?
Yeah.
He pops a dude.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What is with that game?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
people seem to really like that game that have played it. I kind of want to, but God of War is coming out this week.
I kind of want to too, but a lot of the people that liked it also liked the first one, and I did not dig the first one.
I've seen people that didn't like the first one liking it too. Yeah. So it's like I think both are actually liking it. Both types of people. So
yeah, it's a fun ride so far. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, it's not quite the divergence of tone as Far Cry is, but it's like I said, you nuclear blast wipes out a city and you die. Then you have a mouse rebellion overthrowing a kingdom, and then the main character just like straight up executes somebody with a gun. And then you have these little like what are they like side characters or like ability things called higgledy-piggledies.
Yeah, the higgledies.
Yeah.
They look like the forest spirits from Mononoke.
Yeah.
I guess
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty general like Japanese spirit kind of design from what I've seen. So at least their heads don't. Do their heads click? Do they do the click thing? 'Cause
No, they don't.
that's probably for the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like you didn't get Studio Ghibli to sign off on this one, so maybe
Right.
not steal one of their character things outright. Just nod to it. So, all right, well, if you're gonna be playing that this week, I'd actually love to get your thoughts on it next week.
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool.
Hopefully,
Okay,
I play. Hopefully, Mario and Rabbids doesn't detract to it too much. So
yeah, that's the problem. Ni no Kuni not be. I think we're just gonna say this for every fucking game that comes out till now until the Switch ends. But that would have been a perfect Switch game. Like I would have loved to have played that thing on the Switch.
Yeah, it would have been a good Switch game.
Yeah, JRPGs
Yeah.
on the Switch.
Yeah.
Real good fit. So, but anyway, that'll wrap up the show. You can check us out on. You know what? I'm kind of leaning away from Facebook just because the whole.
Mark Zuckerberg? That's a
Well,
person?
it's more the algorithm that too, but the algorithm. I mean, they've already got my information, so it's like, well, fuck all. There's nothing you can do. You can't delete your account. You can deactivate, but you can't delete it. So.
Oh no, he said in Congress you can delete your account. So
He's full of shit.
No one's
Yeah.
ever allowed to stand for.
Yeah. No one's ever lied in front of Congress before, Frankie. The nerve. What am I implying? But just the algorithm of trying to get people to see your posts on Facebook. Like
Yeah.
I have noticed a depreciated views and actual hits in the last like 6 months, we'll say, and it's almost to the point of like, why am I even bothering? Like, I can literally copy and paste from Twitter and put it on there, and even that, for the amount of like attention it actually gets, almost seems like it's not worth it at this point. It's like it's like we have like 800 something people on our Facebook page, and like 2 people see the post sometimes. Like,
oh wow.
And we'll get like, oh hey, you should spend money to boost your post, and I did that once with the Metal Gear, the Metal Gear Solid game club, and let me tell you that I don't think we really got our money's worth out of that bit of advertising. So yeah, But anyway, you can follow us on Facebook if you really want to. I suppose I'll continue to just
I barely use
regurgitate
Facebook.
what I put on Twitter over there. So
I open it to look at things, like, and I always wonder why I did it.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, man, I was really bored, wasn't I?
yep. I took Facebook off my main page thing, and I turned off the notifications, and I feel like I've been kind of better for it. Like I put Twitter
Oh, yeah.
as my sort of main social media thing, and I feel like I get more out of Twitter because it's people like I said, I actually want to follow. I'm following, not like, oh, these are my friends from high school, and it's like I don't know why I feel like weird about people I haven't seen in like 7, 8, 10 years. Of like, you don't want to unfriend them, but you also don't really want to interact with them. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't know why I feel guilty about unfriending them, but it's like, okay, it's like, I
Yeah,
have
it's
people
just
that I work with unfriend me because of my video game bullshit, and I'm like, okay, well, we work together and I see you every day. Why should I feel bad about this person I never fucking see? But anyway, I don't know. Jesus Christ, I'm trying to end this fucking nightmare here. But anyway, yeah, so that's that. You can just follow us on Twitter, and we'll kind of leave it at that. You can follow me at Jason Arriola, John Lucero 777, and Franky 1029.
1029. Yep.
All right, look
That's
at that. Look at that. I got our Twitter handles down. Holy shit! It only took John. You've been with us now for like what, 2 years now?
You've had mine down for a long time, though.
Oh, have I? Okay.
Yeah, you've. I don't think you've had to ask me for mine for a very long time.
Okay. By a very long time, you maybe like 3 months.
Yeah, I feel like it's just my name and 3 numbers. I feel like it's pretty.
Okay,
Know.
well,
Yeah. It hasn't been 2. It has been 2 years, hasn't it?
I think it has been about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Because it was the beginning of 16 when we finished up the. Oh, Jesus God.
My first time on the actual podcast, if we're counting Life is Strange, it's been over 2 years. But my first time on the actual podcast would have been May 2016 when Doom came out. So I think that was my first actual.
Wow.
Actual
Okay.
podcast.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus God Almighty. Yeah, the way we're going, we're gonna hit our our.
That was the 50th episode too. I remember that. That was number 50.
Jesus God Almighty. Holy God. Okay. All right. Before I depress myself at how long we've been doing this, we'll just sign off, and we'll say adieu, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.